Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, March 9th, 2018.
Commissioner Garcia, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Mahesh Pujari, Sanitation.
Good morning, Angelica Samayoa with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Brad Jensen with the Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We did receive an email regarding item number 3 that has been distributed to all commissioners, and no speaker cards for the item as well.
On number 3?
On number 3, correct.
Okay. Then we'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Let's take agenda item number 1. I want to deal with agenda item number 2, but I want to do that when Commissioner Repenning is able to show up. Agenda item number 1, Council District 14, Task Order Solicitation number 27E, T.Y. Lin International, recommending that the Board authorize the City Engineer to issue a revision of the task for solicitation to TYLI, increasing the budget authority from $5 million to $5,200,000, obviously a $200,000 increase for construction management services. Hi, Julia.
Hi, good morning. Julia Moy with the Bureau of Engineering. First of all, I would like to start out by sharing some great news. Within the past month, we had the false work approved for installation of frame 6 false work over the 101 freeway. You and the public out there, especially night owls traveling on the 101 between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., may have noticed that we do have directional closures in place. We've had some minor delays and changes due to the rains and inclement weather we've experienced lately, but we're proceeding as quickly as we can to complete that first tier of false work over the 101 freeway, and encourage everyone to visit www.6thstreetviaduct.org to stay up to date on the latest freeway closures. This morning, this false work approval was a big milestone. It came after over 6 months of coordination and extensive review with Caltrans, far beyond what was anticipated in the project and was anticipated from T.Y. Lin International, our construction management services provider for the 6th Street Viaduct. So this morning we are asking to increase their task order by $200,000, from $5 million to $5.2 million. The depth of false work reviews due to multiple unanticipated revisions from the contractor, as well as very in-depth review from Caltrans, especially given the critical nature of this false work over the 101 freeway. Our consultants needed to go up to Sacramento, meet with the false work review committee, and other such very intensive services and meetings in order to ensure Caltrans understood the false work for this complex project and was able to verify that it was in compliance with the appropriate false work manual and design standards. With this task, the original $5 million consultant contract, the T.Y. Lin pledged a DBE participation of 6.01%. In this task, I'm happy to report the additional funds will go about 75% of those to a DBE subconsultant. So with this proposal, they're increasing their pledge to 10.2% for their overall contract. I would also just like to note we'll be coming forward to the board within the next few months for an extension to T.Y. Lin's contract. Their current contract expires in November 17th of 2019, and their current scope with 6th Street will only cover us and provide CM support services through March of 2019. The current completion date for the viaduct is scheduled for late 2020, so we'll be coming to extend their contract and request additional services to carry us through the completion of the project. I'm happy to address any questions this morning.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Any questions at all on agenda item number 1? Thank you for the background. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Julia, great job as always in being clear about what you're asking and what the status is. Appreciate the update on the false work. That was a big hurdle. And understand in the briefing the rationale for the increase in the work from our TY Lin. So I support this. I don't have any questions.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Any other questions or comments? That's a motion by Commissioner Jacinto on agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 1. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
issue sending number 1 forthwith? We will send number 1 forthwith. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Friday, February 16th, 2018 by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Agenda item number, let's take one more before we get to number 3. Agenda item number 5, project labor agreement, Northeast Police Station parking structure, recommending that the board add the Department of Public Works project labor agreement to the project on number 5. Richard Aloisi. Hello, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. Richmond Alisio, representing the Bureau of Contract Administration. BCA recommends adding the Department of Public Works project labor agreement to the Northeast Police Station parking structure project. Now, this project is located at 3353 North San Fernando Road, inside Council District 13, adjacent to the Northeast Police Station, which was a project completed under the DPW PLA presented before this board on January 26th and February 9th of this year. Now, the project consists of the design and construction of a new 4-story parking structure, a pre-engineered car wash, and an unleaded fuel dispensing system. The Cindy engineer has estimated the total construction costs at $9 million. Now, there are some significant benefits associated with attaching the PLA to this project. The PLA will benefit the project itself by ensuring that top quality work is done by skilled labor that has a commitment to training. It facilitates orderly settlement of labor disputes, prevents work stoppages, and also promotes the public interest by the timely and economical completion of the project. Historically, projects under the DPW PLA have created on average of 13 jobs per $1 million spent. Now, based on this math, the project has the potential to generate up to 117 local jobs, which target the hiring of local residents, local apprentices, and transitional individuals. These efforts are monitored by BCA. Therefore, the Bureau of Contract Administration recommends inclusion of the Department of Public Works project labor agreement as part of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Davis.
Who is the prime contractor for this Northeast Station?
We don't know. The RFQ is due today at 4:30 for the short list.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
great. Thank you. I think it's great to have the project labor agreement because I do agree with you on all the things you have said in terms of us being able to implement more economic opportunity for residents of Los Angeles by doing this. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. Richard, great job. It's always a good day in the board when we add another project to a PLA, and it benefits local residents. We have 117 jobs, and those will be selected and hired from local zip codes, correct?
Yes, sir. The PLA has goals that target that.
And we've done a great job in our PLA compliance and attainment over the past few years, so we're gonna really see that benefit to the local economy and local families and local workers. Right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Garcia?
Hi, I just want to ditto what my commissioner fellows have said. This is such a great opportunity for our community, and I look forward to hearing what the numbers look like at the end and when the project's going to see how many we actually hired from the community. So thank you for doing this. I support this project.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Is that a motion? Okay. Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 5. Any issue sending number 5 forthwith? We will send number 5 forthwith. Let's go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Hall, do we have all the parties here on number 3? Okay. Anybody need a breather or anything? We're good? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and call agenda item number 3, Council District 4, tree removal 2251 Nichols Canyon Road, recommending that the board certify that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the addendum to the mitigated negative declaration for the project at 2251 Nichols Canyon Road, and find the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals. Number 2, find that the project will not have a significant environmental effect under the above described addendum to the mitigated negative declaration, as the imposition of the mitigation measures described in the addendum and incorporated herein as project conditions, and that there is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment pursuant to the city's environmental guidelines and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Number 3, find that the project's conflict with any local policies or ordinances protecting biological resources, such as tree preservation policies or ordinances, is less than significant with the incorporation of mitigation measures 4-80 as contained in the addendum to the MND. Number 4, adopt the addendum to the MND, the case numbers in the agenda. Number 5, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, 4th floor, is the custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 6, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 1 Southern California walnut tree, 2 western sycamores, and 4 California bay laurel trees due to new home construction and required grading. The original board date, just by way of procedure, was December 18, 2017. We have since had at least 2 or 3 more hearings. So I've been briefed on kind of where we are procedurally. Mr. Tyson, let me start with you briefly, and then we'll get confirmation from Mr. Hall. And I know that we have a representative from the council office here as well. We had worked really hard in prior hearings, this entire board, along with the property owner and the adjacent property owners that are represented by Mr. Hall and the other interests that are aligned, to get to an agreement where the parties could come together. After a few hearings, I'm pleased to indicate that what have been informed, but I haven't heard it directly from Mr. Hall yet, but he's here, that we have, the parties have reached that agreement. Is that your understanding, Mr. Tyson?
Yes, President James.
Okay. So I also understand that since that has happened, and granted, as the agenda references, public comments have been received and closed a number of times, but I know that we received a couple of additional letters. I think Mr. Hall's been provided with copies of those from the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy regarding 1 or 2 issues that they wanted to be heard on. We don't have any speaker cards from them, but we have their letters for consideration by the Bureau, by Mr. Hall, and by the council office. And there had been a request for a little bit of time for those issues to at least be reviewed. My hesitancy there has been pushed aside by the fact that the Bureau of Street Services needs a little bit of time itself just to evaluate and analyze what we think is a deal that's going to be satisfactory to the Bureau of Street Services, but you need to confirm it, correct?
That's correct, President James. We need to go out. Actually, Mr. Shalom, the applicant, will have to have his tree expert write a quick addendum with the new findings. Somehow or other, they've moved some things and allotted more room for trees number 3 and 9 to be saved, which is great news. But their tree expert is required to supply the Bureau with an explanation, and then we have to go out and inspect ourselves to confirm that we agree with the fact that these trees can remain with possible impacts that may be put against them.
Okay.
Also, they will need to have protective fences put up around the trees and those kind of things.
How much time do you need to do that?
It depends on Mr. Shalom's tree expert. I would like to think that in 2 weeks we could get this done.
Okay. Here's what I would be inclined to do, and I want to hear from Mr. Hall on this, but and I also have a question for the council office. But what I would be inclined to do is set it for 2 weeks from today, which would be the 23rd. But if, in the interest of the property owner and the stakeholders here, if it's available earlier, the Bureau should feel free to put it on the agenda earlier. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions, colleagues, for Mr. Hall before we, for Mr. Tyson before we go to Mr. Hall? Okay, thank you, Mr. Hall. Jamie Hall. Have your speaker card here, sir.
Good morning, Board of Public Works. Jamie Hall with Channel Law Group on behalf of the Nichols Canyon Neighborhood Association. So this is our fourth hearing on this project, and I want to start off by saying thank you for believing in the public hearing process. It does work, and so we have reached an agreement after we had 3 meetings with the developer in the interim time period, multiple working meetings in various locations, and so we have agreed to additional protections to save 2 of the trees here and also to provide for a wildlife movement. We wanted to preserve the east-west connectivity between the 2 habitat linkage zones that had been mapped by the Conservancy. So there was I'm just going to go through just a couple of things that we've done. One is a conservation easement. The developer has agreed to provide a conservation easement along the most biologically sensitive area of the property. And that includes the stream, which is a very unique thing. Most properties in LA don't have a full-time running stream through the property. 2 of the trees that are nearest to the stream are being saved, tree number 9 and 3. That's really important because this is the biologists said that this was a rare riparian plant community. A no fencing requirement along the side yard setback so animals can actually get down to the stream, which is an important habitat area for them. And also, the developer has agreed to do some off-site tree planting if needed. What we don't want to see is a whole bunch of trees bunched up in the remaining area of the property. So the Trebek open space is 75 feet away. So the applicant has agreed to work with the Conservancy to do some off-site tree planting if it's determined that the tree planting plan is horticulturally unsound. Additionally, some project modifications were made. The deck has been reduced in size to provide more habitat for the animals nearest to the stream. And on the side yard setback, the stairs and the planters have been relocated so that the animals can have easy access to get to the stream. And finally, a host of construction mitigation measures that go above and beyond what the municipal code requires have been agreed to by the developer to provide for protection to the residents so that they can feel comfortable with this construction that's going to probably take 18 to 24 months. And that includes improving the road to 20 feet in width in the areas that have been determined to be less than 20 feet. So thank you for listening to the residents and for really giving the public hearing process, the power that it deserves. And anyone who says that going to speak at City Hall doesn't matter or won't make a difference, well, they can constantly be proven wrong by coming to the Board of Public Works. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. I would just say, yeah, we believe in it, and we have the luxury of the fact that we meet 3 days a week and can spend the time and work with the communities on these when not every board has that luxury, but because we have it, we'll take advantage of it. And we appreciate the hard work that the communities put in. I was speaking to a neighborhood council group last night, reminding them that this is what you just said. If you will engage in the process, we'll spend the time to engage in it with you. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Hall before I move to the council office, Commissioner Repenning? No. Okay. Nick, just a quick question for you. If we, Mr. Greif, please, from Council District 4, we have what we think is a 2-week continuance, recognizing that if the Bureau of Street Services is able to move faster, we could be back a little earlier than that. Is that enough time for the council office to work with the community and with Mr. Hall and the communications that we received from Mr. Edelman on this?
Yes, we believe that it is.
Okay. I feel the same way, but I just wanted to get confirmation from you. Okay.
Appreciate it. We appreciate your work as well as the community and the applicant for coming together to come to a resolution.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Penny?
I just want to thank both the community for their input and attention to this, and the applicant as well for the adjustments made to the project to the benefit of the ecosystem. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Shalom, yes, thank you for your patience in working with us and with the community as well. We appreciate it. So that said, the agenda item will be continued to the March 23rd. And my message to, our message, I should say, to the kind of the outstanding issues that were raised late is that we are very confident that those can be worked out and that they will be, they won't be an impediment to our issuance of the tree removal permit as revised on March 23rd or sooner. Dr. Campos, anything from you procedurally?
Just to clarify, this would be continued to Friday, March 23rd or earlier date as practical.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Then that'll be the order on agenda item number 3. And Mr. Hall, you got the letters that we received late, right? Okay, I think did you give those letters to Mr. Hall?
We'll provide them.
Oh, yeah. If you need, you can have my copies because I have them in my email. If you, yeah. I don't think there's anything here, Jamie, that's going to surprise you. So I could be wrong about that. But I know you've been in communications with Mr. Edelman. Okay, thank you all. So that'll be the order on. Yes, go right ahead.
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah,
Song.
in the interim, our building permit will expire, which is not going to be a huge issue because we've already discussed it with planning. If we could just have some kind of documentation that there was a continuance today.
Yes. So between Dr. Campos and Mr. Tyson, I want you to be able to get what you need for that to not be interfered with.
Okay.
Absolutely. We'll give them a copy of the journals that we'll post today, and then we'll also provide you a letter if you'd like.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Right. And we could almost essentially say, and they can hear this if they want, that we're close to essentially a conditional granting of the permit. We just need Mr. Tyson to be able to do the confirmation work that's standard. But so for whichever department needs that, Dr. Campos can provide you with that written communication or that email that comes from him.
Awesome.
And Mr. Tyson should be copied on that.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you guys.
Thank you. Again, thank you all for the work on this. Let's go to agenda item number 2 and deal with this continuance, and then we have an oral report from our Chief Procurement Officer that we'll move to. Let's see. Agenda item number 2, citywide exclusive franchise system for solid resources collection and handling zero waste LA franchise system recycler facility certification program plan. Recommending that the board first approve the Bureau of Sanitation Facility Certification Program Plan, and secondly, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to certify facilities on an annual basis. And we have a speaker card in, and this is going to be continued to March 14th. But because it looks like it's Kara Benton put in a card, we're going to hear you today since you're here, but one moment, let me go through what we're going to deal with procedurally. There's been a late request for a continuance. Our internal discussions with the Bureau of Sanitation has been such that Commissioner Repenning and I would recommend the continuance to March 14th. Right, thank you. Wednesday, March 14th. And that's just because of some scheduling issues with my calendar, with sanitation calendar, with other calendars, such that it needs to be on March the 14th, as well as just other city scheduling matters. So that's our recommendation. I know that we have a representation or a representative from the haulers here. I apologize. I did put it in an email last night to them that we would recommend continuing it to March 21 or 23. And I did that without knowing of the other potential calendaring problems that have arisen. Therefore, the continuance needs to be to Wednesday, March 14th. So my apologies to the representatives of the haulers for that. A communication that was late last night, but the continuance needs to be to March 14th, which would be my recommendation. Do you agree with that, Commissioner Penning? Okay. So with that, Kara, I'm sorry, I can't read your last name. Okay. Oh, you want to come back on Wednesday? Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Well, if you want to go earlier in the stack on Wednesday, if more people show up, remind Dr. Campos, and we'll put you up first. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So that'll be the order on agenda item number 2. We have one moment. Let me see if I can move now to our procurement reform goals from our Chief Procurement Officer. Yes. Let's go to agenda item number 8. Procurement reform goals from our Chief Procurement Officer, Michael O. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself to the Board of Public Works. If you'll indulge me for a few minutes, I can talk generally about our procurement initiatives. I come to you from New York City. Most recently, I was the New York City Chief Procurement Officer and the Director of the New York City Mayor's Office of Contract Services, where I oversaw approximately $21 billion in procurement spend annually. So I actually want to tell you a little bit about myself personally. Even though I just came from New York City after working there for about 15 years, I'm actually originally from the Los Angeles area. I went to elementary school here in the city. And I remember about a month ago we were flying into LAX, and my daughter, who's turning 5, is looking out the window watching the plane descend into Los Angeles, and it reminded me of myself at 5 years old looking out the window, except I wasn't coming from JFK, I was coming from Seoul, Korea. And it's another generation of my family starting a life here in LA, and so I would like to thank you, the mayor, and the residents of Los Angeles for entrusting me with this important position. When people ask me what I do for a living and what procurement is, I usually just say, well, it's just buying stuff and services. If you are a normal city resident, you go on your phone, you pick an app that you like, pick the good or service that you're purchasing, and usually in a couple days or so, or maybe even in an hour or so, you get the person showing up or you get the good at your doorstep. Well, in the city, you actually have to, if you're a buyer, you actually have to check the charter, then you check the ad code, you check some of the department regulations, maybe you do some other stuff, and maybe in a few months, if you're lucky, you get what you need. So if it's actually that difficult to buy something, can you imagine what it's like to sell something to the city? And can you imagine if you are a small business, a local business, a minority, women-owned business, how difficult it is to actually traverse the complicated nature of procurement in the city? And so that is actually our goal, is to streamline, to simplify, and to lower the barriers of entry so that we can actually allow for a much quicker, hopefully, right? We're all knocking on wood right now. A much more valuable proposition to our city departments in terms of meeting their objectives, but also to our vendor community and our local business community, so that the city can become a world-class procurement organization and a better place to do business. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you again for this opportunity, and I cannot wait to build upon the wonderful work that the Department of Public Works has already started and get us to the finish line. Thank you.
Mr. O, thank you very much. I know that you have been, for lack of a better term, on tour through our city departments. I was the beneficiary of a much more detailed presentation. We were in an environment that lent itself to that. I certainly appreciate that, and we look forward to all of your great work. I know it's a position that our mayor was very excited to fill, and was thrilled to be able to do that. It's something that he has wanted to do, and is very happy to have achieved that. Not only that, but to have filled it with you. It's a great get. I don't always admit that we like to compete with New York as much as we do, but it's always great when we get someone from our best friend on the other coast, being New York City. We'll start with Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Chief Procurement Officer, inaugural, Michael O., welcome. You've been a great presence already, and I appreciate, welcome back home. In the briefing we had, in the recent meeting that we had for our Accessing LA event that you're going to join us, and that's part of our Business Advisory Committee scope of work led by Commissioner Penning, Commissioner Davis. You've already had tremendous contributions and perspective that we're going to use. I'm happy to see Shmel, Hannah, and Keisha there, our partners in contract administration and MOBI, and what we're going to do in really fulfilling the mayor's vision about making the procurement and the contracting process more transparent, more beneficial, in the back to basics agenda of Prosper City for everybody. So it is with great anticipation and trust that you're going to lead that effort, that you're going to help stitch together the various parts of our city, all the different proprietaries and departments, and create a system that's that you can navigate, that is accessible to all of Los Angeles, and that helps move our city forward. So welcome again.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Davis?
Well, it was great for me to meet you on tour, as President James said, at our meet and greet, and even more rewarding to have a chance to have already met with you. Procurement is so critically important, as you already know, and I think each of us look forward to working with you because we can make a difference in terms of helping to be the example in the city about the opportunities we have to increase growth and development for our challenging cities and areas of the communities that have high unemployment rate. So again, I'm just excited about working with you and know that procurement is so critically important for us to achieve some of the goals that the mayor has set for our city. So welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Penning?
Michael, I also just wanted to, again, welcome you to the City of LA, or back to the City of LA, and we look forward to working with you. I think we've been making some real progress here at Public Works with our Bureau of Contract Administration, with John Reamer, with Hannah Choi. I think we're doing some things that can really be models, and I think it's going to be great for us to really be in conversation with the other agencies and feeling like we're tracking with other agencies and able to kind of share best practices and reach for some shared goals together. So thank you. We'll look forward to your leadership.
Thank you. Mr. O, I guess go forth and do well. I mentioned to you, as a matter of fact, I think if I recall correctly, I chased you a little bit down the hall to say that we had a very productive meeting and I was just about to let you get out of the office without me saying, but wait a minute, you need to let us know whatever you need us to do to help you. That's something that we collectively offer our assistance as well. You have in LA, procurements and particularly improvements to procurement, which in large organizations like this, there's always the opportunity for that. I think that opportunity is increased with technology. So you have a big job in front of you, and we look forward to being your partners in reporting on successes as we go along, because I think it's a never-ending process in such a large and complicated government. Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, I just want to say I look forward to working with you. We are both kind of starting at the same time, and I've seen you around, or we've seen each other many times now, so I look forward to working with you in the next couple of years.
Thank you, sir. So the oral report will be received, and just know, Michael, that you're welcome here anytime, and you can get on our agenda whenever you need to.
Appreciate that.
All right, thank you. Let's go to agenda item number 4. Council District 1, revocable permit, Byzantine Latino Quarter Business Improvement District is the name of it. Recommending the board authorize the Office of Community Beautification to grant revocable permission to encroach within the public right-of-way, subject to listed conditions, to Byzantine Latino Quarter Business Improvement District. The encroachment is written as follows. This project will enhance and expand the Hoover Transit Plaza at Pico Boulevard, where an existing heavily used bus shelter already exists. An expansion of the existing median will create a contiguous space for community members to enjoy. Other improvements include decorative paving, additional landscape, and other amenities, such as benches and trash receptacles. This project will enhance Hoover Plaza's impact and benefit to the community of Council District 1. And secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue a no-fee revocable permit for work to be performed. A B permit is already being obtained by the group. Thus, there is no need for an A permit. On number 4, Mr. Roch.
Good morning, Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification. The Adopt a Median program is designed to encourage, assist, and make it as easy as possible for community groups to beautify an area of public property. This morning, as mentioned, we're requesting board approval for an Adopt a Median project submitted by the Byzantine Latino Quarter Business Improvement District. The group is proposing to install decorative paving, landscaping, benches, and trash receptacles on a median island located at Hoover and Pico. This project will enhance the location known as the Hoover Street Transit Plaza. It will also expand the median island, and as mentioned, B permits have already been issued for that work. The Adopt a Median plans have been reviewed and approved by Bureau of Street Services, Bureau of Engineering, and the Department of Transportation. We've also received a letter of support from the Office of Councilmember Cedillo, and we do request Board of Public Works approval to move on in the process.
Thank you, Commissioner Roch. Thank you, Mr. Roch.
Not yet, not yet.
Any questions for Paul? We don't have any questions. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend. Any issues sending number 4 forthwith? We will send number 4 forthwith. Agenda item number 6, project labor agreement, Council District 11. Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Advanced Water Purification Facility. Recommending that the board add the Department of Public Works project labor agreement to the project. Mr. Is it Chatterjee?
Chatterjee, yes.
Got it.
Good morning, Commissioners.
I could say Vic,
my name is Vic Chatterjee, and I'm a labor compliance analyst for the Bureau of Contract Administration. And I'm here to present the recommendation to add the Department of Public Works project labor agreement to a new project at the Hyperion Water Treatment Reclamation Plant in Council District 11. The project is the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Advanced Water Purification Facility, or AWPF project. The city engineer has estimated the total construction cost of $38.8 million for the first 2 phases of the project. The cost of the third and final phase of the project, or the performance validation, will be established by contract after negotiating the project guarantee maximum price. The actual scope of work for the AWPF project will be further defined in the bid documents issued to the short list of professional design build teams. The AWPF project consists of a treatment facility, a storage tank, and a pump station that will supply recycled water for use by LAWA and LADWP facilities. The Bureau of Sanitation is working on a memorandum of understanding with LAWA and potentially LADWP to address cost-sharing measures. Historically, the Department PLA has been applied to 12 projects at the Hyperion plant to date, the most recent being the approximately $26 million Headworks Improvement Project that was advertised in June of 2016. Benefits associated with attaching the PLA to a project ensures that top quality work is done by a skilled labor force with a commitment to training. It also facilitates orderly settlements of labor disputes, prevents work stoppages, and promotes the public interest by timely and economic completion of the project. Projects under the Department PLA have had a positive impact by creating, on average, 13 jobs per $1 million invested. Based on this calculation, the AWPF project has the potential to generate up to 290 jobs for the local community. The effort to hire local residents, local apprentices, and transitional workers is monitored by the BCA, and as such, the Bureau recommends the inclusion of the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement as a part of this project. I'd be happy to take your questions.
Thank you. Any questions on agenda item number 6? Commissioner Davis.
Wanted to find out from you in terms of the numbers of individuals, do we have a ballpark figure of how many individuals we'll be able to hire from this particular project?
Sure. Just based on the numbers, it's 290 local jobs. The objective of the PLA is has specific benchmarks to address 30% local hire, 50% of hours worked by apprentices, local apprentices, and 10% of all hours worked to be transitional workers. So we're addressing very specific demographic of workers, local to Council District 11 in this case, local workers and transitional workers like veterans and all sorts of varying individuals. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anything further? Is there a motion on agenda item number 6 by Commissioner, I'm sorry, Commissioner, oh, okay. Commissioner Davis? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any issues sending number 6 forthwith? We will send number 6 forthwith. Agenda item number 7, Council District 13, Bureaus of Engineering, Contract Administration, and Street Services. Contract award, Class 3 remedial slope mitigation at Sunset Boulevard, Coronado Terrace to Waterloo Street, Phase 1. Recommending that the board declare John S. Meek Company the first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award John S. Meek a contract for the project for $1,797,465. Secondly, authorize myself or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. Pedro Garcia on number 7.
Good morning, Pedro Garcia, Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. Our item is a request to award a contract to John S. Meek for the Sunset Boulevard Class 3 slope mitigation project. This project is located on Sunset Boulevard in the Echo Park area of the city. It's on the north side of Sunset between Silver Lake and Alvarado. This section of Sunset Boulevard has a steep slope along it that is continuously sloughing and clogging up the sidewalk, forcing pedestrians to actually go into the street. The project will stabilize the unstable slope along Sunset by installing a soil nail wall and shotcrete. There's going to be architectural aspects to the project, as you can see in the renderings that we provided. These are going to have some vegetation growing on it. We're going to install some planters at the bottom, and at the top of the wall we're going to plant ivy, irrigate it, and the ivy will eventually cover the wall in certain areas. This project was advertised and 2 bids were received on December 13th, 2017. John S. Meek was the low bidder with the bid of $1,797,465, which was 18.95% above the city engineer's estimate. We find John S. Meek's bid is reasonable and therefore recommend award of the contract to John S. Meek.
Commissioner Penning.
First of all, I just want to say I'm glad that this is happening. That area of Sunset has been sort of crumbling in a way that often impedes access for, I don't know, as long as I've been around the area. I'm sure Commissioner Jacinto knows this area as well. And it looks quite interesting. Is that steel or what's the?
It's all concrete.
It's concrete.
Yeah, it's architectural concrete
It looks like metal
designs.
somehow. But yeah, I guess that's,
So the renderings actually show what it's going to look like after 3 phases. This is the first of those phases. So we're doing a small section on the north side of Sunset. Future phases are going to do additional sections on both ends of that section that we're doing now.
Okay.
And then phase 3 will be the side on the other side of the street.
so are the other phases funded yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to identify funding for these types of projects. Okay, well, the only thing I would say is, the subcontracting levels are, not, yeah, there's
Non-existent.
really no diversity there to speak of. But it sounds like we only got a couple of bids in.
We only received 2 bids, yes, and we asked our contractor the reason for the low pledge, and they said that they did do all their outreach through the business inclusion program. However, they didn't get the response. And in cases where they did, those bids were substantially higher than the low bid. So
And I assume the community has been involved in the design process?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Is that a motion, Commissioner Penny? Commissioner Cinto, go ahead.
Thank you,
Sorry
President
about
James. Pedro, thank you for this. I agree with Commissioner Penning that this is an area that really needed just concrete on both sides, and it's interesting to note that this is on historic Route 66.
I believe so.
Right. So that's a storied thoroughfare for us too as well. And you answered the question I had too in terms of the community input. The design, was that in-house?
The design was contracted out to Mars Services, Inc. Yes, they were the designer.
Okay. I think what is striking is that this is not your typical bulkhead retaining wall. And I think that architectural, the articulation and the design is really progressive. And like what we saw yesterday in terms of a bulkhead that has faux sandstone, that architecture and public safety structures can also be beautiful, can be aesthetically pleasing, and that's important for our city because this is such an iconic area to drive through. So we look forward to seeing all 3 phases go with the greenery there and all the irrigation. So thank you, Pedro.
Thank you. So Commissioner Cinto has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 7, seconded by Commissioners Repenning and Davis. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 7 forthwith? We will send number 7 forthwith. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
And we are adjourned with the exception of a brief management meeting since we have that takes place now in the conference room.